day. Hope it lasts the weekend. Damn. Must have forgot to put the hose away. Never mind. No harm done. Do it later. Hurry now. Finish your orange juice. Mustn't be late for school. Silly things. Accidents. Always happen when you're in a rush. Or you've something else on your mind. Catch you unawares. That fool. Thinks he owns the road. When you reflect on it, though, there's some kind of risk in almost everything we do. We trip, stumble, fall over, drop things, or get hit by moving objects. They're the sort of accidents can all too easily happen, whether we're pottering around the house, driving a car, or going about our work. The trouble is you don't always notice what causes them before it's too late. I remember there was this load being lifted down the shop one day, and the slinger saw some steps in the way. So he moves it, just beside Ted's machine. Only place there was. Can't have thought any more about it, till Ted turned round and fell over. Poor sod knocked himself out. He bruised his shoulder, too. Quite bad. Then there was this fitter, Mike, I think it was. Untidy bugger. His bench always looked like a scrapyard. Said he knew just where to put his hands on anything. You wouldn't have thought he'd break a bone in his foot, but he did. Some accidents you'd never expect in a blue moon. Others, well, they're almost bound to happen. Take this one. A van parked on a bend in the road. Along comes a motorist. Can't see the road ahead. Bloke comes out of the shop. Thinks the road's clear. Bloke gets hit. Just the same at home. A cold day, so Mum gets out the oil stove. Then the telephone rings, and off she goes to see who it is. Burns, cuts, scalds, bruises, broken bones, sprained muscles, they're happening all the time, and not least at work. They're painful. They mess up people's lives, and it must cost a packet in lost time. But how do you prevent them? One thing we tend to forget is not every accident ends up as an injury. This sort of thing, for instance. No one's hurt, but it's still an accident. A second or two later, and this could have caused a nasty mess on the floor. Another near miss. The question is, how often this sort of thing has got to happen before someone gets hit? It's now pretty well accepted that for every fatal accident, there are at least 30 serious injuries and as many as 300 minor ones. There's bound to be a hell of a lot more near misses than that, but exactly how many is anybody's guess. So it means if we're going to reduce the number of fatal or serious accidents, we've got to eliminate all, or as many as we can, of these near misses. If you can prevent this, and this, or this, you automatically cut down the chance of someone getting hurt, or things being damaged. It's common sense, really. Like having your mate standing by to foot a ladder and pass things up to you. leaves you free to do the job properly. Then there's always some other place to stack materials where they're not going to cause an obstruction. And if this storeroom floor had been kept clear, there'd have been plenty of room to get a truck in and load it out of harm's way. The truth is, about a third of all accidents at work happen because of simple carelessness. The sloppy way people do their jobs, or leave things around to get untidy, dirty or cluttered. Often the kind of thing you just never tolerate in your own home. No one could honestly take a pride in a place like this. It's a slum, and a dangerous one at that. And if most housewives can take better care of things than this at home, why can't we, at work? Waste, for instance. It gets caught up in machines, flies off into your eyes, builds up on the floor, and generally makes a job harder. And remember, metal swarf can burn as easily as paper. Then, if something's not wanted for the moment, it usually gets put down in the handiest place. You know it's there, but how many other people do? And how often do you see stuff lying around on the floors? Or trucks left in access ways, and materials sticking out where they can cause a bruise or a graze. Main switch points. You may want to get to them in a hurry. Or fire appliances. Obstructing these could cost someone his life, quite apart from the fact it's illegal. There's no getting away from it. If everybody kept things in their proper places and did their jobs in an orderly way, everyone would work better and safer. Finished goods wouldn't get spoiled. And there'd be less chance of tools and equipment being damaged. Whoever uses this sling next could be in dead trouble. Storing materials now. It's obvious there's got to be a system, but it's not much use if people carry it out carelessly. Bad stacking, for one thing. Overloaded pallets or stillage for another. And it's made worse if there's bits of wire or something left sticking out. A broken pallet, of course, should never get as far as the store. When it does, it's got to be repacked. If it's left in a gangway, it becomes just another obstruction. It's always the small things that count. Maybe they're not dangerous in themselves, but it often takes more than one mistake, or one person, to make an accident. And, of course, the amount of risk varies. Can't be as much in an office as a machine shop. But you'd be surprised how many injuries there are, even here. It doesn't matter where you are or what you do. Keeping your house in order means fewer accidents and less serious injuries. All the same, there's no denying things can and do get out of place. The real problem is no one does anything about them until it's too late. So what's the answer?
41. Now this is the essential thing that you get your sprayed correct. So
as an apprentice, you're taught your trade the safe way.
It'll liable to break through the cigars. So you'll have left on the machine could damage the lens. Let's have these put in the appropriate place in your pocket.
And not just the job itself, but everything that goes on around it.
Left on the machine.
How to keep the place tidy, avoid unnecessary risks, and think ahead.
Hang on a minute, John. What are you doing?
With training and supervision, you've a good chance of developing safe working habits.
I've tried it a dozen times about this. This can cause an accident. Sorry, I forgot. It's going to take a week. It's going to take some money. How long does it take to have an accident? 9 minutes.
But what happens when you get on the shop floor? Most people have a healthy respect for danger when they see it. It's when you're off guard things happen. And let's face it, lots of jobs are pretty routine and monotonous. People get careless and take unnecessary risks. Crowded workplaces, out-of-date machines, and obsolete plants don't help either. So you take the easy way out. You follow what others do. The older ones who've always got away with it, or the younger ones who'll do anything for a lark. One bad habit leads to another. Dirt, dust, and spillage become somebody else's responsibility. You get lazy. Ignore obvious dangers. Abandon safety precautions. And 9 times out of 10, nothing happens. But sooner or later, someone's bound to get hurt. How can we get round the problem? Every organization, large or small, has a legal obligation to ensure the safety of its workforce. And so has the shop floor in carrying out safety rules and regulations. Both have got to recognize the importance of good housekeeping and devise ways of achieving it. One is by a system of hazard spotting. It involves both management and shop floor in organizing regular safety walks. Representatives are elected from the shop floor by rota, and every department is inspected. The shop is divided into convenient areas, and each route clearly marked so it can be covered in 10 minutes at a slow walk. Gangways, materials, transport, clothing. A broken chair. A cutted shelf, an oil spillage. Each mark represents a fault, a risk, anything that might contribute to an accident, however unlikely.
There's a problem on the safety guard.
After each safety walk, both shop floor and management can see just how good, or bad, their performance is. And while some things need decisions at a higher level, most can be put right at once. And that's where it comes back to each one of us. We all know what we have to do. If something's wrong, correct it or report it immediately. Better still, think ahead and see that things are always as they ought to be. Clean, tidy, and orderly. none of us can really afford to leave safety to others, or put it off till tomorrow. Because remember, out of all the hundreds who are at risk, only one may get hit, but that one could be you.